In each person's lifetime, there will be a series of waves of rock bottom events. These times are when your identity needs a reboot. These are the sacred and historic times that offer you a chance to reinvent and reboot your business and personal life on your terms. I hope that your life is always blessed and that you will never need a guide. However, if you need help, accountability, community, and connection, along with a rock solid reboot plan, then my new book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, will be like having me by your side. It is now available on Audible, Amazon, Kindle, and includes a free mini online course, meditation, plus 11 additional guided application workbooks. Grab a copy of my new best-selling book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, the formula to go from rock bottom back into action. Bootstraps and Bra Straps, now available on Amazon, Audible, and wherever fine books are sold. And now a message from our sponsor.
Ready for a reboot? Welcome to the Sheila Mack Show, reality at its finest. History reminds us those hit hardest often become the change makers. This year, we've all hit crazy economic, social, and emotional rock bottoms. We all get knocked down. Something hits globally, locally, personally. It affects our health, finances, our relationships. We have to recreate a business or career. Each show, Sheila and her special guest will be sharing their reboot stories, guiding you with real solutions to upgrade and up-level emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. Here on NBC's KCAA Radio. If you're ready to pull yourself up by the bootstraps and bra straps, enjoy a listen. Here's Sheila.
Welcome to the Sheila Mack Show, reality at its finest. Here we have real people sharing real stories and actionable steps to help you reinvent, rebuild, and reboot your business and personal life on your terms. I'm your host, Sheila Mack, and today we have special guest, Brandy Alexander. Brandy loves the challenge of teaching young minds. She is very excited that her writing continues to take her to new places. Who knows where the next creative adventure will lead? Growing up in an isolated area of the Texas Gulf Coast, Brandy Alexander found adventure, entertainment, and friendship within the pages of her many books. When she wasn't swimming, exploring, or pretending to be a teacher, she spent days at a time lost in the fictional world of religious paranormal fantasy. Having spent so many years as a voracious reader, she has been heavily influenced by a variety of writers. All right, welcome to the show, Brandy.
Thank you. I'm very, very excited to be here.
And I like to start off by, this show actually started with my new best-selling book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, the formula to go from rock bottom back into action in any situation. And we have experienced just about every situation and then some. So I like to start off by asking you if you have a time in your business or personal life where you experienced a tough situation and how you got back on track.
I've experienced a lot of different things, and I could probably tell a lot of stories, but I think the part of my life that was the largest hurdle was probably when my father passed. I lost my father to cancer, and then about a year later, I had my son. And there was a lot of time period in there where, it was hard to change what I thought the future held for me. My dreams of growing up and my father being there for me on my wedding day and, meeting his grandson and teaching him all the things that he wanted to. And so, I began to realize, I think at that point, that no matter what our plans are, no matter what we think we need to have in life, that may not always be what God has in mind. That may not be what our future holds for us. And I think I just began to really assess myself and see, what is it in life that I want to do that I haven't done. Time is passing, and I don't want to just be gone one day and there was nothing left of me behind. And I have dreamt my entire life of writing a book. It was something that I'd wanted to do since I first started reading. And I used to think, one day I want to tell a story that is as captivating as I feel right now. And so over the years, I probably started several, and I just never felt that connection. But after I lost my dad, I began to sort of think about all the TV shows you watch, the ghost adventures and the, all these different supernatural thoughts, and I began to wonder what it would be like to intermingle with the ghosts and intermingle with the spirits. And so this sort of idea came to my mind, and before long, I wrote my first book. I lived up to my first major dream of my life, or
Mm,
one of my major dreams of my life, not my first,
mhm,
but
mhm.
it changed my life. And so right now, I can't imagine not writing. I want to just keep writing and keep writing and keep writing. It's exciting.
Yes, yes, that's beautiful. And it is something that if you're a writer, it tends to be that you have these books and you think, okay, well, maybe this one, maybe that one, but you'll kind of know when it's the one or more than one that you end up
Yes.
doing. And your topic is very interesting. So I'd love to hear more about your book and the topic.
The title, here it is. I have a copy of it right here, and I have it in hardback and paperback.
I love it.
Genesis, a paranormal alliance destined to fight the powers of darkness.
Uh-huh.
Completely fictional story. I just began to imagine, there's this guy who can see the spirit world. He can see the angels and the spirits, and come to find out demons. And his brother, along with some of his best friends that he's met along the way, are spirits themselves, and they live with him. And they're sort of the comedy of the book. They it can get serious, so they bring that comic relief.
Yeah.
And they together have got to figure out where these demons are coming from, why they're there. They seem to have some kind of nefarious plan, and then how to get rid of them.
Mm,
And along the way, he sort of just follows the path and comes to find, faith in himself and his friends and God. And I don't know, it just felt like the right story to tell. It was
mm,
enjoyable. It was fun. It's just this big save the world thriller.
uh-huh.
But at the same time, there's a lot of connections that I made to the characters and the story itself.
Now, what made you go toward that as far as that topic? What was it? Did you have experiences in your own life with all that kind of stuff, or did it just come to you?
Well,
Okay.
what's kind of funny is that as much as I have read a lot of Christian books and spiritual books, I really tended, especially growing up, to stick to romances, to stick to
Mhm.
adventures, to stick to very supernatural. I liked anything that wasn't based in reality. If it was reality,
Uh-huh.
it's because we lived reality. I didn't want to live it, I wanted to read about it. So I would have thought that, I might have even gone more of the supernatural romance. But after my father passed, I began to imagine what it would be like to be able to talk to his spirit or to be able to interact with a spirit. And I think that
Mm,
just sort of started the ball rolling. And then from that point, I just began to imagine, like, what kind of story hasn't been told 1,000 times.
right.
And I didn't want something where you're going to pick it up and you know how it's going to end. I want that to constantly be, how are they going to fix it? How's it going to end? What's going to happen?
Mm.
And I really do feel like I tackled that in this book. Everyone I've spoken with just gives me really good feedback.
Nice, nice. Yeah, that's something that's really interesting. Now, I'd love to hear like maybe an example of more about like maybe your favorite chapter in that book.
There's so many things that happen in that book, and there are literal surprises all the way to the very last page.
Mm.
But I think that the point in the book that I was the most excited to write, and I also probably found, I don't want to say difficult, but it was very challenging because it's a fight scene, and it's the first time that there's a real physical interaction between the spirit world and the human world.
Mm.
And I approached it, and what's so cool is that I've had people who have read it who told me this before without even me
Yeah.
speaking to them. But I approached it almost like a movie camera,
Mhm.
and you can see what's happening in the fight, and as it turns, you would see each character.
Right.
And I don't know, I think that that one was a really enjoyable scene because it's that first time where I feel like you want to stand up and just, yeah, get them. And those are the kind of books that I enjoy the most. Where you almost want to scream out loud. You're angry at the character, or you're excited for the character. And I think this book really does that. I enjoy reading it myself. Sometimes I'll start to look for something, and next thing you know, I'm engulfed in my own story.
Yes, yes. I know I was also a reader from a young age, and I can remember reading books where I wasn't the type of reader that you read and you hear yourself reading in your mind. I don't
Right.
know. I wasn't like that. Like literally, I'd read a book And once I got into it, it was like I was in the book. I was in the movie. I was like so experiencing it. And then I'd be like, oh my gosh, 4 hours passed or whatever it was.
I've
And,
lost myself in a book so much before I forget what room I'm in. I flash back when I open
Mhm.
my eyes and like, oh yeah, I was sitting here doing this or that. Yeah. I'm
Yes.
sorry.
And yes, and it's just a wonderful thing because I think especially now we've lost the art of reading for a lot of people. I mean, I have my book on audio and there's everybody has the audio books, but there's something about literally picking up a physical book that's different. That's, where,
Tangible.
yes, and you could just go relax and read a book, get some sunshine and read a book or whatever. And I think a time like this where we have some more quiet times than maybe we want, it gives us that opportunity to get back to the books on our list that we never have time to read. And also
Yeah.
an escape. It's well, we can't, and depending on where you live, you can or can't go to the movie theaters or whatever. So this is like another way, and it's something different, and it helps you with your mind as well. So there is something that I've found. I also lost my father, similar to you. He passed away 6 months before my youngest son was born. And so it was really a hard thing. And I can remember family and friends said, well, he's always watching over you and he's always with you. And I said, he sees everything. And we all started laughing. So I better be better. I better be on my best behavior. And
You start imagining
yeah,
everything around you.
exactly. And so there is something though that talking with other people that work in hospice and losing some other relatives, grandparents, and this and that as well, that there's a point when a person crosses over that they start seeing the people they used to know that are already on the other side, and they start talking to them, and it's something that has shown up in every culture, every religion, every place on the planet. So there, I mean, and that to me is like, oh, there's something beyond this. I don't have a doubt or a question in that.
Yeah.
And so that's that's just one of those things.
I was raised in a very strong Christian home, and
Mm,
I do believe that there's a life on the other side, that we're not just
yeah,
gone.
right.
And there's so many different people that will argue what that might be, to what extent. I had fun with it in the book, creating this fictional world, but I do believe that there is more there. And even though my book, it's hard to write about angels and demons and ghosts without your faith seeping in.
Mm,
But I think that in this book, there's something that everyone can connect to, no matter who they are, whether you believe in a higher power, or whether who it might be.
mhm,
But it's faith. No matter who it is, you have to have faith, even if it's just faith in your friends or faith in yourself,
right.
because you're not going to get anywhere in life if you don't put your faith out there for to succeed. You have to, I believe, and it's sort of the common theme I think in this book is that no matter what, they have to have faith.
Yes, that is so good. Now, I'd love to hear more about like everything else that you do. So you wrote the book, and what else are you doing in your life with the book? Are you doing like a book tour with this crazy time or?
Well, trying to get it off the ground. This is my first book, and so there's a lot of hurdles, a lot of things that I'm learning along the way. I would love, absolutely love, to talk to somebody who would be an agent, someone who could really help me push this book to make the
Hmm,
right moves, go the right places. I'm doing everything that I can, though, on my own, trying to figure it out one step at a time. I do plan on this being an entire series. And
yeah.
so I've spent this past summer writing the sequel, so
Mm,
now I get to start on that journey and begin book number two. I don't know how far it will go yet, but I do have plans for it to go for a while. So I'm having a lot of fun with these particular
yeah.
characters, and I think there's a lot of stuff I can do with it.
Yes, yes. Now, how long did it take you to write the book?
I think from start to finish, probably a couple of months.
Oh, that's
Being a teacher, you get a
yeah.
lot more time to yourself at some points in your life. You
Hmm,
make up for it during the school year. That's for
right.
sure. But I'm able to, on an average, write about a chapter a day, chapter every day and a half.
Wow.
So, I give myself a break every week, 1 or 2 days here or there. But if I just kind of kept at it, and most of I think it's been around 32 chapters, 34 chapters is usually what I plan out. So it
Mm,
takes me a little while, in a couple of months. So it wasn't too bad as long as I just stuck with it and worked out
right.
it solid all day. But I have
Mm-hmm.
fun. I went on vacation recently, and I'm sitting on the beach, literally with my computer in my lap and a drink in my hand and the ocean in front of me. And someone walked by and said, "You're crazy. You're doing work on the beach." And I was like, "This is fun. I'm actually relaxing. There's no distractions. Nobody talked to me. I'm enjoying myself. This is
Yeah.
what I actually want to do. I mean, my dream is to retire from teaching eventually and just travel and write full time. I would love it."
Mm, yes, yes, yes. And that's something. Now, what do you teach? What subject or grades
I
or?
lucked out. I got to do things that I absolutely love. I teach art and I teach theater arts. I teach both. I
Mm,
have taught English, reading, language arts in the past, and I've done a lot of work with different subjects. But I love the arts. They're just so much fun. No matter what it is, I feel like I'm just very creative. Whether it's
mm.
cooking or sewing or designing or decorating or painting or writing, as long as my right brain is just chugging along, I'm good.
Yes. Wow, that's great. So that's something, teaching, that is your toughest audience ever. If you can get through teaching your class, especially young kids. I was a teacher too, for many years, and I did Montessori and Waldorf, and so it was a little different. But
I worked
those
there once.
those first graders are really a tough audience. Boy, I tell you, they'll tell you anything and they don't hold back. They will tell you exactly what's wrong or what you forgot or, and
All the
it
stories over the
yes,
years. Yes,
yes,
I've taught all
yes.
the way from kindergarten through actually pre-K all the way up through high school. So yeah, it's they will do things and say things that you are not expecting at all.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
sometimes they're very insightful. They'll say something and it's just like, wow, I can't
Yes.
believe that he said that.
Mhm. Definitely. What is that saying? When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And then the other half of that is, and when the teacher is ready, the student will appear.
Right.
Those little students, they'll teach us so much
Can I give
about
a shout out
life.
to my school? I told
Oh,
the kids.
yes, please.
All right, Elkhart. I just had Elkhart High School,
All
Elkhart Middle School.
right.
Sorry, my son just graduated. I've been staying high school for the last 3 weeks. But my just want to give a shout out there to my kids. Say hello to everybody.
Hello, everyone. And yes, this is so important for parents listening in. What do you suggest to get your kids to read, to get them past reading as an assignment and to really grow the love of reading?
I've personally, for me, I think you just have to find the right book. There has to
Mhm,
be something of interest, something that's going to grab them. And for every kid, it might be different. One person might want to learn how to build a boat, and another person may want to read about magical kingdoms.
mhm.
But there's something out there that's going to pique the curiosity. And if you can get the right book and you get them excited about reading, you make them love what they're reading, then they want to read another one, and they want to read another
Yes,
one.
yes.
I firmly believe that when the Harry Potter series came out, it rejuvenated the reading. I mean, it was kids that didn't even never wanted to pick up a
Mhm.
book, suddenly
Right.
wanted to find every book they could that was similar to that book just because.
Mhm.
So I think it just takes that one genius book that's perfect for that person, and the next thing you know, they can't get enough of it.
Oh, yes, that's so true. And there's something to, even as an adult, I have 6 children. They're all grown now. And I adopted 3, and so they're this blended, incredible family. And one of the things, because I always read, and we had like a reading time together when they were little, and all this, it's something that they still read.
Yeah.
And, in fact, I told them I'm doing an audiobook for Audible, and they said, "Wow, is that like for people that are blind?" And
No
'cause
one's ever heard of that.
it wasn't even like a concept that you could listen to a book, and now they all listen to the Audible too, but it wasn't really like a concept to them because they read so much, and so that's really been a gift for sure. and especially during this time. Now, are you doing online school as a teacher or in class?
We did last year, the whole year, but right now we've been in class. I've got a couple students who are out sick, so when they go long term, I'll put them in the Google Classroom. But
Oh,
other than that, we've been doing it in the class. So, which is
yeah,
much easier for art, I gotta say.
of course. Right.
Yeah, art and theater, you can only do so many assignments online before you start
Mhm.
needing to be in person. So
Mhm.
I was really, really happy to be able to see my kids again and to just be in the room with them again.
Yes, now I have a couple adult kids home that are doing the online college, and
That's
now
mine in
yeah,
here.
and I have one that actually the college is open, so they get to go, but now they just announced that in the spring, they may have to close again.
Oh
So
no.
I'm like, and we'll be back to on demand or online or whatever. And
Right.
so it's awesome, but it's difficult for children and parents. What advice do you have for children and parents listening in as far as that goes? As far
Uh,
as dealing with, what sometimes we're home and we've got to do the school online. Maybe, something happened and they have to shut down for a couple weeks or whatever, and then we're back. And what helps with that? Those kind of crazy transitions that are not normal.
I think having as many things you can rely on as possible. Certain things that you do a certain time of day, certain place, because when you don't know where anything's going, when you don't know what tomorrow holds or what's going to happen,
Yeah.
if you know that, you got a regular schedule as much as you possibly can, I think that helps, especially younger kids. They know what time
Mhm.
to eat, they know what time to go to bed, what time to take a bath. Those things are always part of it. But when you lose knowing that tomorrow you're going to school for sure,
Yeah.
or that you're going to see your friends next week, or that you're going to be able to even have a birthday party and invite anyone,
Mhm.
I think that that can start getting kids down. But being able to rely on knowing that, hey, I'm always going to have this, I'm always going to have that,
Right.
can help them overlook some of that, can help them get through.
That's true. Now, was there like a moral to your book story, or
Well, like I said, faith is a theme throughout that book. And I guess if there's a moral at all, it's just that, if you're going to make it in life, if you're going to get anywhere, if you're going to be able to achieve your dreams, even the smallest ones, and sometimes it's just getting through your day. You got to have faith that, hey, my loved one's at home and make me dinner, or faith that at the end of this week, uh, here's a weird faith, but my favorite TV show is coming out finally again.
Mhm.
Just things you can look forward to,
Mhm.
because if you get held down by all the problems you're having and all the work and all the money and all the issues and relationships, and you stop looking for the fun in life, you stop looking for those little things to look forward to, and sometimes that's all it is. You just know you're going to go home and cook your very favorite meal, or
Right.
you are excited about someone calling on the phone tonight because you want to hear how their date went. Whatever it is, you got to find what those moments are, or sitting down with your favorite book,
Yeah.
carving out that me time for just a little while so that you have something to look forward to. And that way, the hard stuff, maybe let go of it a little bit.
Yes, yes, that's so good, so important. And going back now, if you could go back to when you were a young girl, what advice would you give yourself?
Professionally, you think, or
Whatever,
in life?
that you would just like, I should have told myself, or if I could go back and just talk to me at 10, what little bit of advice would I give me?
Not to take everything to heart.
Mm,
I went through a lot, I think, through my junior high years. I struggled with being accepted by my peers. I was very introverted, and I think those few times when I put myself out there, it wasn't responded to well, and so it just drew me further and further inside. And it
mm,
wasn't until I really thank God for my family, for both God and my family, because they got me through some really hard times in life. But
mhm.
I think now I look back at that, I went through that so that I would be who I am now, because without that, that's who I am. If I could go back and talk to myself, though, it would be not to take so many things to heart, to let things go,
Right.
to not worry about what everyone else thought about you, but to do what you like because you like doing it.
Yeah.
I find now that to be a very attractive quality in friends and people that I know is um, just them being sure of themselves and what they like, and not letting somebody else's thoughts or viewpoints mar their own, to stand behind them and like who they are.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so important. And for myself, I grew up in an area where I had a lot of elders. I mean, like 70, 80, 90-year-old people that they were around me a lot and they were my friends too. And, we'd have them for Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas dinner because nobody, their family wasn't around or whatever. And so that was kind of that they were like my adopted grandparents. And one thing about them, they were all well to do. They had this beautiful life. They had these incredible stories of what they went through. Some of them went through the pandemic flu, believe it or not. They were little kids at the time, but they went through it. And you hear all these stories. And it was so beautiful because they had gotten to the point in their life where they didn't give this flying duck about anything, other people's opinions, and they valued our friendship. But it wasn't about what you wore or what you looked like or whatever it was about who you're being and all you're doing. And they were really honest about where they were at, and they just lived and loved fully. And those were my mentors in life. And I think it's so important that at a young age, if our kids can hear this with a lot of pressure at school and in the media to be something that's not even realistic.
Yeah. That they see something that's airbrushed or, pinched in the back and held together. And they think that that's the way it's supposed to fit everybody. And in reality, it doesn't even fit the model like that.
I
Yeah.
know. Oh, I mean, I have people I see that they're already beautiful and perfect, and they airbrush so much of it. Is that a person or is that a cartoon? Because
I get so tickled too. And it's amazing how much an inner beauty will shine on the outside, but the
right.
same goes for an inward ugliness. That,
Mhm.
the physical side can be absolutely stunning, but you get to know them for a while and suddenly they're just not attractive. You start to see all the little things that just irritate you because they don't have a good personality. But
Yeah.
you get around somebody who may be physically what people might say flawed, but you don't even see that because all you see is this sparkly, vibrant, happy,
Mm.
joyous, self assured person. And
Yeah.
it goes so much further in life.
Mhm, mhm. That's true because then if you're coming from an ugly place, I don't know, gossip or saying mean things about other people, whatever, it's ugly. And then people know, well, I'm not going to tell that person anything because she's going to tell or he's going to tell everybody else, or it's a drama king and queen
Hmm.
situation. And it's not something you really want, and it's important. I know Tony Robbins says we're the direct reflection of our peer group. And so that's important too, to make sure that we surround ourselves with good books, with good friends, mentors. Like I was this young girl and I had these incredible older mentors that I really honored their wisdom. And
Right.
you know what I mean? And they were my guy. I was so sad over the years, as you lose people, because they contributed so much. They were so much a part of my life, and I made sure my kids got to spend a lot of time with them too because they had more wisdom than I could give them. And it was just
Yeah.
something important. I wanted them to have that.
Growing up, the church I attended, we spent a lot of time at some of the older age homes. And I can remember as a kid, some of my favorite things to do was just talk to them because the stories they could tell, they were so much more interesting than anybody my age. And you would find out, where were you at on when Pearl Harbor happened? Where were
Yeah,
you at when, all these different life events? And it gives you a different viewpoint. It's no longer something in the history book that's just
right.
read about, but this happened to someone and this was what they went through and how they felt and how it affected their lives and their future. And you start to
Mhm.
see that like what you're doing will be that someday for another person, and another 50, 80, 60, whatever, really badly ordered there. But whenever, you pass into these older ages, your stories are going to be doing this for someone else. Suddenly our experiences on 9/11 or our experiences through COVID or, whatever, they're going to want to hear what that's like because otherwise it's just in history.
Mm. Yes, that's so true. And we are coming to the end of our talking time. So I'd love for you to share one more time about your book and where people can get it to read.
Would love to.
Uh,
The book, hold this side, is Genesis, a paranormal alliance destined to fight the powers of darkness. And you can find this anywhere they sell books right now. Amazon has it on sale. Walmart has it on sale. Target, Goodreads, Barnes and Noble, just about any place you want to find it, you can look for it, or you can look for it on my website, brandyalexanderbooks.com or brandyalexanderbooks@yahoo.com.
All right. All right. Well, thank you again for being a special guest on the show, Brandy. And for those tuning in, we'll be back after these messages.
Thank you so much. This was awesome. I love this. Have a good night.
You too. This is NBC's Sheila Mack Show here on KCAA Radio, the station that leaves no listener behind. I'm your host, Sheila Mack, and today I have a couple of announcements. First, I would like to hear from you. That's right. I would love to hear from you, to be honest. I want to know what your breakthrough is, what your reboot is. How are you reinventing and rebooting your life? What shows would you like to hear more of? What information do you need to help you get back on track this year? And to do that, the best way to connect with me is actually through my new YouTube channel, and that is Sheila Mack Show on YouTube. And there you can see past recordings, and you can also see other information and shares that I have. And I would love for you to share in the comments there what you're needing more of and what you're rebooting this year and how we can help you get back on track. If you are just tuning in, this is the Sheila Mack Show, reality at its finest. Here we have real people sharing real stories and action steps to help you rebuild, reinvent, and reboot your business and personal life on your terms. I'm your host, Sheila Mack, and we are here today on NBC's KCAA Radio, the station that leaves no listener behind. Today we were discussing the beauty and fun of travel as a career, travel as something that you may want to do in your life. I personally traveled for 7 years straight. I enjoyed learning from some of the finest people on the planet, incredible mentors such as Tony Robbins, Dr. Wayne Dyer when he was with us. I had a blast with the travels, and as a parent of 6 children, I still had my youngest 2 children at home with me, and we actually did what a lot of people are doing this year and the kids did independent study and traveled with me for 2 years straight, and I'm telling you, they learned so much from the experience of traveling. And like I said, me traveling full time as they all started going to college, I just kept on traveling and then visiting all my kids in the dorms. And so with that, there's always a time in life. And right now, I'm sure people feel like a little concerned. Maybe, is the world ever going to open up again? Will we get to travel again? And yes, there are actually many opportunities to already start traveling. And if you feel like it's not exactly the time, it will be at some point. I really have faith in that, in our science, and just in the fact that things do come and go, and we keep moving on as a human race and humanity. We always find ways to make things available to us, especially beautiful things like traveling and getting to know people from around the world connects us even more. And so right now we may have to be traveling more through our computers with online listening and online courses. I know I offer 14 different online courses that I teach every week, and so I get to travel all over the place from my little recording studio, and I really enjoy that because now I have clients and students in my courses that are from other sides of the planet that maybe would have never joined had it not been for the pandemic worldwide pause. And so I know that we already have open invitations for when they start traveling again, that I am going to visit them in their countries, and they are also going to come visit me, and we're going to give each other the tours from somebody who lives in the city, and that's going to be a blast. So one of the things that's really important is with travel And maybe you don't love travel, but there's something about just getting away and giving yourself time, taking those breaks, taking the learning experiences. And it's to me, it goes back to self-care and spirituality, whatever that may be for you, and how to have those times even this year, when we may be staying home a little bit more than usual and not traveling as much. How can we make sure to give ourselves the vacation time and even the small trips? Sometimes I know lots of people, they live in a state or a country and they haven't even seen their own beautiful sites, their own botanical gardens or historic places to visit, mountains to climb in the area, what have you. So it may be that you're going to be traveling and having your own adventure as a family or even as a work group, as something fun to do, where maybe you go have a work meeting at one of the botanical gardens or some other place in the area that is permitted, and that you can get out of the office or out of homes and into nature. So that is another idea. Right now, I wanted to share a little bit from my chapter in my book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, the formula to go from rock bottom back into action in any situation. And I wanted to share a little bit from the chapter I have on self-care and spirituality. All right, everyone, take a listen. Chapter 10: Self-Care and Spirituality. Lisa's husband passed away. As a couple, they had recently agreed that they were going to sell their house and move to a retirement community, and now she had to do that alone. Between the loss of her husband and the home her son had grown up in, Lisa was hit with a double whammy of grief. As anyone who has lost someone knows, grief causes stress levels to rise exponentially. On top of that, selling a house and moving, even when it's a planned, happier move, is also stressful and can be unsettling. You lose things, objects get broken, and you have to readjust to a new place. Lisa wasn't just moving away from the house where she'd raised her son. She was also leaving the neighborhood she'd lived in for 45 years, where her friends lived, and where she volunteered in the community. She felt she was losing everything in her life at once. Lisa and I started talking because she needed some support through all these decisions and upheaval. She was even overwhelmed with things she was usually quite good at, her paperwork and taxes, because of all the changes she was going through at once. As we talked, she told me how she took care of her husband, her son, and her community. But she had never taken time for herself, and now she was faced with too much time. I gave her the challenge of doing one thing for herself every day, as if she was doing it for her husband or close friend. If someone showed up on her doorstep in pain, stressed out, or going through something, Lisa would drop everything to help that person. Now, though, that person would be her. She was going to give herself as much attention, honor, and love as she gave to so many other people. And I asked her to send me pictures of her doing these things, so she would be held accountable. At first she was like, "Are you crazy?" I promised her it would help, even though she thought it would be dumb. For me, I told her, do it for me if you're not going to do it for yourself. The first day, Lisa sent me a picture of herself getting her nails done with the text, "I haven't had my nails done in months, not since before Dave got sick. It felt so good, and you were right. I kind of needed that break." "Great," I replied. "What are you doing tomorrow?" From survival mode to self-care. When we hit rock bottom situations in life, it tends to send us into survival mode. And when we're in that place, we're so busy making ends meet, struggling with grief, loss, and pain, and dealing with whatever is going on, that we don't have a choice but to eliminate some of the things we usually do. When we have to go to work, then go visit somebody in the hospital, then pick up your kids, and you still have to make dinner and maintain a certain level of cleanliness in your home, or whatever duties you have to do, taking an hour for yourself to go to the gym or meditate gets pushed aside. It's just today, you tell yourself. But then tomorrow comes and goes, and another day and another. The next thing you know, it's been a month or two, and then you really start to notice the difference. One day, you wake up and you're not who you used to be. When you aren't practicing self-care, it shows up all over. Maybe you're exhausted and not sleeping right. Maybe you're off your healthy diet. Perhaps you've pushed your meditation practice and it's showing up at work or with relationships. You start snapping at people you would never snap at. When you're already at rock bottom with one situation and then you realize how many of your healthy habits went in the fallout, it can be overwhelming. You've hit another rock bottom, and you may be looking around and thinking, how do I get from here back to where I was? You start over. One step at a time. Starting over sounds scary, but there is good news. Your muscles have memory. Your body remembers healthy eating, and you can catch up on your sleep, but it's not going to happen in one day. It took you more than one day to reach this rock bottom place. One day of not cleaning up doesn't bring a mess into your life. One day of extra spending doesn't necessarily lead to a negative cash flow situation, so it's going to take a few days or even weeks to get back to where you were. The fastest way to start climbing up from rock bottom is to take small steps and focus on little wins. Do one small chore that's fallen by the wayside, and then one reward to yourself, and do one small act of self-care too. As you do one, the other becomes easier, and you climb back up from your rock bottom. Once you've taken the first step and have that first little win, you can take another. Maybe tomorrow you'll clean one part of your house or deal with one bill that got thrown into a pile. Set a goal or a timer, and once you reach that number or that time, stop and take some time to reward yourself for the progress you've made. Just for tonight, take 5 minutes to meditate. It doesn't have to be the whole hour that you used to do, as long as you're doing something. Maybe you're starting over with your budget, so you can't go get a massage or facial or have a spa day right now. Just for today, try doing your nails at home, or just for this afternoon, take a 10-minute walk. Anything that leaves you thinking, oh, that feels better, after you do it. You can even schedule appointments for time to spoil yourself a little, even if you just mark enough time in your calendar for simple things like lighting a candle and meditating, taking a walk or a nap, or watching a movie, something that's just for you. You'll still have to take the right actions and take care of the things you're required to care for in your life. But you can also honor an appointment with yourself as much as you show up for the other people or situations or emergencies that threw you into survival mode in the first place. Your body and your mind need that break. They need a respite in order to continue getting you from that rock bottom place back into your life. Without it, it's like not putting fuel in your car and expecting to go on a road trip. You know that sooner or later, you're just going to run out of gas. With your brain and body fueled up and ready to go, however, you will be able to come up with new strategies for resolving whatever issues come up. You define your self-care. You have to take care of yourself before you help all the other people that you care for. If you are just tuning in, This is NBC's Sheila Mack Show here on KCAA Radio, the station that leaves no listener behind. I'm your host, Sheila Mack, and I have some news for you. Yes, you. I'm celebrating my 3rd year now on the station and will be expanding the show to a global network as well. You may now find the Sheila Mack Show on all major podcasting channels, and if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, all the episodes are now available for viewing there as well. And I'm asking you for a quick favor. If you like the show, please help support the spread of this Reboot channel on YouTube as well. My goal is to help as many people as possible through our interesting times to rebuild, reinvent, and reboot your business and personal life. I also wanted to share a little bit more about how I got here, what I do now, and how designing a business career and life on your terms is more than possible at any age or stage in life. I am an enterprisingly forward-thinking consultant, show host, and best-selling author. But how did I get here? Well, I began my career as an entrepreneur and property investment strategist back when I was 23 years young, when I boldly quit my government job with NASA JPL to open my first of 5 large gift stores while also starting to invest in property. I got to work with some of the world's most loved companies, such as negotiations on leases with Warner Brothers and winning trips to London as the top-selling Crabtree and Evelyn provider in the U.S. for multiple years. My stores were built on heart as I gave back to the community I came from. So now, some of you know this and some of you don't know this, but as a young girl with parents who were not well enough to care for me, I was homeless at age 10, then in foster care, where it was really hard to get a job while in the system. I finally emancipated at the age of 15 to start college early. While running my stores, I worked with a government program. Back then, it was called Job Training Partnership Act, making my stores an open source training site where close to 200 at-risk youth started their careers. Yes, I began my career helping business leaders and working professionals to design a life they love where they can have success in their careers and get to the business of life. See, a funny thing happened along the way. When I first opened my gift store, it was kind of crazy because I was this young upstart. That's what a lot of the store owners called me. My first store was in Montrose, California, in this sweet little hometown shopping park with other stores and restaurants nearby. And so I was the young upstart that didn't know what she was doing. At least that's what everybody said. And I didn't really care what they said. At that age, you know, their opinion was like, I don't really care. So that was probably a really good thing because I stayed focused on what I needed to do. And I had negotiated to lease out a 5,000 square foot gift store that needed a lot of work, and I got free rent and for about 6 months, and I had to start making the rent, which was $5,000 a month, which was a lot of money back then, $1 a square foot. And so I had to learn and relearn. I finally did hire quite soon in the game. I did hire a marketing expert, branding expert, I guess back then, and that lady really helped me to figure things out when I first started. And when you first start a business, especially when you're young, it was like I had no idea what to do, but I needed to learn because my rent was going to start coming due every month. And over that time, I started having more success. I did crazy things like stayed open until almost midnight every night, along with the restaurants who were very close to my store, while everybody else closed shop at about 5 or 6 p.m. So I was making more money from the start, and I just really, my store was to help my kids And the products I sold was whatever the community wanted. I sold lots of things to people in the entertainment industry. I worked with cruise ships. I worked with many different people in the community. And later on, the store owners actually came to me and asked me if I would consult them and help them. I actually started buying my other buildings because I didn't like the idea of paying rent for years and years and years and not building equity. So I did get my real estate license through that and invested and bought my other 4 store buildings. And lots of the other store owners worked with me, paid me to consult and help them do what I was doing. And I didn't really even know it was called consulting. I just knew how to figure it out, I guess. And so that's how I started my career. And now, I raised 6 children, all that, and now they're grown. And so I get to come to work every day and do what I naturally do best as an enterprising and forward-thinking business leader. Through my show, courses, and live events, I guide entrepreneurs and working professionals like you through the profitable steps of building a business, creation to expansion, marketing from planning to implementation, wealth preservation through strategic planning and, yes, real estate investing, and lifestyle design so that you can earn more while getting back to the business of living your best life. So I do invite you to tune in here to KCAA Radio, and also I would really appreciate it if you went to my YouTube channel, Sheila Mack Show, and gave a subscribe and a listen to some of your favorite shows. And I do have some other exciting things, including a free gift to thank you. So if you go to www.sheilamac.com, that's SHEILAMAC, sheilamac.com, there you can get a free gift to get started on your reboot this year. And now, back to the show.
Okay, thank you guys. Bye-bye.
All right, if you're just tuning in, this is NBC's Sheila Mack Show here on KCAA Radio, the station that leaves no listener behind. And we are also streaming to YouTube at Sheila Mack Show and all major podcasting channels. And we'll be visiting some other special shows. I have switched to all natural beauty. So if you'd like to learn more, go to SheilaMack.com and click on Natural Beauty to learn about Beauty Counter. And that is something I'm now repping, but I also am only using the Beauty Counter all natural products. It has made a huge difference in my complexion and is a wonderful way to just only have natural products on your body. You can also go to beautycounter.com/Sheila, SHEILA, Mac, MAC. But the easiest thing to do is just go to SheilaMack.com, SHEILAMAC.com, and then look for the Natural Beauty tab. You are tuning in to the Sheila Mack Show, where we answer real questions with real solutions to help you reboot your business and personal life. Now, I have reminded you about my new best-selling book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, the formula to go from rock bottom back into action in any situation. And the core of that book is lifestyle design. So it's going through chapters of different things that happen in everybody's life to one extent or another. We talk about starting over, rebooting, get back on track after losing a loved one, a divorce, our kids grow up, we are parenting our parents, and more, relationships, ups and downs, renegotiating relationships, business, career. And every time you have a life shift, you have the opportunity to redesign your life. And so the main focus is every chapter will help you reboot through where you are. You go to the chapter that speaks to you during this time in your life, and then you go to the main focus of the book, which is lifestyle design and getting back on track. But this time, the difference is You get to live life on your terms. All right, so to learn more, go to SheilaMac.com. My name is spelt SheilaMac.com, and there I also have a free gift for you. Looking forward to seeing you there, and as always, I wish you life, love, laughter, and light. If you are just tuning in, this is NBC's Sheila Mac Show here on KCAA Radio, the station that leaves no listener behind. I'm your host, Sheila Mac, and today I have a couple of announcements. First, I would like to hear from you. That's right. I would love to hear from you. To be honest, I want to know what your breakthrough is, what your reboot is. How are you reinventing and rebooting your life? What shows would you like to hear more of? What information do you need to help you get back on track this year? And to do that, the best way to connect with me is actually through my new YouTube channel, and that is Sheila Mac Show on YouTube. And there you can see past recordings, and you can also see other information and shares that I have. And I would love for you to share in the comments there what you're needing more of and what you're rebooting this year and how we can help you get back on track. If you are just tuning in, this is NBC's Sheila Mac Show here on KCAA Radio, the station that leaves no listener behind. I'm your host, Sheila Mac, and I have a special free gift announcement for you. That's right. Get a free introduction to the Boots formula and meditation by joining our email list for business leaders, busy moms, and rock stars like you. To get your free gift, just go to www.sheilamac.com/free gift. That's right, sheilamac.com/free gift for your gift today.
Friends, I have a political message for you today. Are you ready to hear about politics? Probably not. So this season in the United States, if you are here, it is political season. So it's very interesting, and everybody's going to vote for somebody, hopefully. So vote your passion. But the most important thing that you can vote for is yourself and your family, your values, and your belief systems this year. So give yourself a vote for time for you, self-care time, time with your family and friends. Don't just spend your votes watching and listening to everybody else's opinion about what's going on or who you should vote for. You know your values, so vote for you. All right. Is not one size fits all, just like a pair of boots or a bra. So the formula is designed to help you through any situation. Grab a copy of my new best-selling book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, the formula to go from rock bottom back into action in any situation. It is now available on Audible as well as on Amazon and Kindle and at www.sheilamac.com.